Hello, Copic friends. I am showing you the older version and the newer version of Copic various ink refills. So this is the older style bottle. Looks like that. This is the newer style bottle. We are going to make a quick kind of direct comparison of the two of those, and then we're going to talk a little bit more just about what you can do with the inks. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that this month, March, these guys, which you cannot buy anymore, some places have left over. Violetta Ink is one of them, and she is selling them this month at a discounted rate. She is trying to clear the shelves of all the old so that she doesn't have any more of them. Your benefit. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll play around with some ink. All right, so Copic various ink. These are the two bottles that you will see out there. This is the old. This is the one that most of us, if we've been around doing Copic for a while, are familiar with. This is the original version. This is the current version. This is what they have out on the market anymore now. You cannot, if you find these, they might have a few kind of random colors. They probably don't have the complete collection of them, and not everybody even has them anymore, and they cannot order these for you. This is what they've got in stock. This is what you can get now. So the ink, these are E000s, and both of these is exactly the same. The ink in this is the same as this. It doesn't matter which style you have. You'll notice that this one is taller, the newer one, and it's also narrower. So if we look at the back end of them, one of the main reasons that Copic switched to this newer style is that this little guy will fit into any of your marker storage systems. So you don't need a separate system like what I have set up for my refills. You can actually fit these guys in right beside your markers, and it works perfectly. So here's one of my sketch markers, and you can kind of see length. It's a little bit shorter than a sketch, but size-wise, it's going to slide down into those little tubes or containers where you've got your markers held. So that was one of the issues. Another difference that you'll see is the nozzle or delivery system. This is what the old one looks like. I'm going to see if I can avoid making too big a mess. This is what the new one looks like. So you're going to notice this is considerably shorter. It's a little bit wider, especially at the actual hole end of things. So fairly decent size hole. And a little bit stubbier. This is considerably longer, and then a smaller hole at the end. So the another reason for doing this and changing this was that a ton of people are doing alcohol ink artwork. No markers involved, just the inks. And this nozzle is giving them a little more control to do some of the artistic things that they're doing with the ink. Now, I am not that person. I play around with it, but I'm not like gifted at it. I haven't experimented with it enough. But some of the artwork they're doing out there with just the various inks is really amazing. So you can check that out online. Now, I know the rumors are going to tell you, or the masses are going to tell you, no, they were trying to make money, smaller ink, a little more expensive. So it is less ink. It's about half the amount of ink. It doesn't work out exactly to be like double the cost by the time you do the math. It is a little more expensive now. Again, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we don't totally understand about them keeping up with supply and demand, or at least working on that. And the fact that for many, many years, they had not had a price increase. So Give them a little grace there, everybody. If you love this product, that's kind of what it's doing. In the meantime, Violetta Ink is getting rid of all of these old guys that she has. So this month, March of 2022, she has all of her old ones on sale for a discounted rate. It does not need a coupon code. So I will make sure to hook you guys up. I've had her website at the beginning, and I'll have it again at the end. And if I remember, I'll also include it in the kind of notes about this video. But you can get these guys on sale this month over there. And as always, if you'll mention I sent you, either Michelle Houghton or Copic in the Craft Room, it is greatly appreciated. So I'm going to collect a fun few colors that I'm going to play with and show you guys like 2 or 3 fun techniques you can do with these. And then we'll do some ink play time. So one of the easiest techniques is to take ink and just, this is a Yupo, but it's a non-porous surface. So shiny photo paper, any of your like plastics, but this is a Yupo, this particular one. You can drip ink right on there, and you can use a straw or a heat gun. You can blow on it with just you. I find it works way, way better if I have a straw or something to blow on it with. And you can do a little moving around like that. So I'll do a few of those. All right, so there's one. We'll set that to the side. If you have kind of a splat mat or a surface that you can clean up really easily, you can do drips right on that surface. Making messes. I'm going to use the same 3 colors for this one. I have a YG01. That was a B37 that I started with. And then I've got a BG45. Now I can leave it just as it is, kind of just sitting there. So we'll do one like that. And I'm going to sit and spin and peel up. That's kind of neat. Got a lot of ink going on here. So on this one, I might do less of a The fun part is, if I don't feel like I got enough, I can come back for more. That's kind of cool too. What I like about doing this on a splat mat is then I can use what I clean my markers with, and I can just, so hand sanitizer works really well, little alcohol wipes will work really well, but alcohol solution and just paper towel and rubbing alcohol is going to work really, really well. I'm not going to get too concerned about getting this sparkling until I'm done, but get some of those bigger colors off of there. So that's a really easy one. Let's see if I've got my hand sanitizer. All right, hold on. Standard old hand sanitizer, blob. And then if you spread that out kind of evenly, kind of give yourself this layer on your splat mat. And then switch colors here. Now I'm going to work with some BVs and V's and B's. This is a BV 000. It's really light. a B79, really dark. It's a lot of ink. I probably don't need near that much. And then I've got a V05, which is, if you're familiar with this one, it's very bright. Kind of push that through the center, I think. And you can do different orders. You can play around with starting with your darks and then going to your lights. Now, again, you could do exactly what we did before where you set it down. I'm going to take a comb and just really lightly go through that. And I'm only going to do it the one time. And then I'm not going to shift it around. I'm going to pick this up. Oh, but I caught some of those little pull throughs. Let's see. Let's try that. Get a few more on there. Tons of ink, so I've got plenty to still pick up. And it kind of smushes together. So that I'd need probably not quite as much ink. So I've got a ton of ink obviously left on here. So I just want to get some of it up. I hate to waste it. So I've got a giant sheet of Yupo, and I'm going to see if I can pick up. So the alcohol from the hand sanitizer is spreading that in that it kind of prolongs the amount you can use it. If you have ever worked on a jelly plate or a gel plate, this has some of the same properties that you can kind of go playing with your ink a little bit more and move it around a little bit more when you put that hand sanitizer down first. Now, one thing to know about techniques like this is this stuff will keep moving on this paper until it's completely dry. So if you really like something exactly the way it is, you might want to dry it like with a heat gun before it starts smushing all around smartly. And just kind of count on making some messes, you know, dropping your ink bottle in a wet print, you know, background and stuff like that. So kind of plan on messes, give yourself the space, give yourself an apron. If you're a person who really does not like ink on your hands, you might want to wear gloves. I just don't care. It's not that much I don't care. It's just I'm so used to walking around with ink everywhere. It just doesn't bother me. Okay. One of the things you can do with these is they start, so this is almost completely dry, but some of these that aren't quite dry, like along these little ridges, you can use like foiling papers and stuff to add metallics. So very quickly, this is a version of, it's from Prima, but it's a rub-on foil. So it comes out in these sheets. You're going to lay the non-glossy side down. My goal is that this part out here is dry to the touch. But then right where you create these ridges where the ink pools up and we have these dark edges, those are just barely tacky. So no promises, we'll see. I'm using my bone folder to just kind of rub around that area, and you can kind of peek as you're going. But the goal or the hope is that if it's dry enough, and that's the trick, it has to be like just the perfect amount of wet versus dry. But it looked like it was doing a little bit, so we'll, how far can I go down over here? There we go. So what happens is where that ink is still a little damp, there we go, we can see it. It picks up, or the gold sticks to that. Now I'm getting a little bit of residual And you can see on this end, I did a little bit more. If I use something really pointy and kind of push it down in specific areas, it goes into some of the dry areas as well. So I have to be really cautious. The back of a spoon works really well. This is the my bone folder, and I'm just trying to use that flat edge. But you can see where it picks up in those pooled areas, and that's my goal. So that's the one last piece, and I know it's a very quick, there's one more piece, and I'll stick it in the middle somewhere. I saw this technique and I have no idea if this is going to work. So what they did, because it's done with paint, this is not an alcohol ink technique, but they used a variety of colors. Obviously I'm going to have to go kind of as quickly as I can. And I really have no idea if this is going to work. So I like this group of colors though, very spring. So they literally had these little piles of paint, and then they used a full squeegee. Now I'm not going to use the squeegee, but I'm going to use one of these little kind of credit card paint movers, and they just scraped. Oh, it did. It worked. Haha. Now, I might have to try it one more time because I now want to know if I did it lighter, what would happen? And I'm just experimenting, so I'm going to pull it back across. And obviously I've created a new color. This green is a mix that I'm getting like pooled. That's a mix of everything that went on in between. But let's do this. We'll try it like maybe 2 more times on small. But remember, if you don't have Yupo, or the Yupo thing is intimidating because it is a little bit pricier, you can get pretty inexpensive glossy photo paper and get some of the same effects. So let's do this. Let us do this color group one more time, and we're going to try, and I'm just keeping it kind of at the one end. Smaller cards, so don't need quite as many drops. Let's do that. And then really lightly, probably should have cleaned that off. Oh. It would work better if I was flowing. What always surprises me is because it's a non-porous surface, you get this very forgiving and I'm just playing. Like, I don't know what any of this is going to do, but doesn't that look like kind of a cool abstract art? I'm kind of thinking that's fun. So I'm going to do one last one. I have to clean that off though, because it's a mess. And see, this is what happens. You have to be prepared for that. And this, it's all over. I need to get out the big bottle of rubbing alcohol to finish the day. So if you haven't seen when I did the metallic foil, like on this stuff, you definitely need to check that out. So that one is really, really cool too. Or if you add some metallic elements in there with like a metallic paint pen, there's ways to do that. So alcohol paint techniques, look them up, have fun with them. So I'm wondering, what if I spin it? So going back to my purples and violets, red violets. This is going to have way too much ink. I can already tell. Too much. It's going to pool everywhere. Oh well. And then, what if I did like kind of florally, like petals? And see that dark color? It kind of takes over, doesn't it? What I liked about the paint technique and what I'm liking about this one as well is that I can see those different layers of those different passes. I can actually see those initial dots as they hit the page. Then I can see where I've moved that ink across, and I think that's kind of cool. Now, if I had a broader, like when they did the squeegee, it just went straight down and you had that one pull all the way across. And like some of these little doodads in the middle, I'm not as huge on that. But I do like this one got these two directional ones, that's kind of cool. I'll bring this one back over and look what's happening here. So we had some places where it pooled and pushed back out. How neat is that? I mean, that's just really cool. So a few different techniques for you just to start playing with the Copic various inks. There is tons of this information out there, but I wanted to give you guys a really fast, fun tutorial today and send you straight over to Violetta Ink. If you are missing refills for any of your markers, this is a great time to buy them from her when the bigger refills are all, if you're just refilling your markers in particular, if you're not picky about the shape and the size, this is a really great time to buy them. So head over there and see what you see. Obviously, it's going to be limited colors. You're not going to have everything. Some of the really popular ones, like a BG000, she probably does not have in the bigger old size, but there'd be a lot that maybe ones you were holding off buying, that this would be a great time to purchase those. So check it out. Thanks for joining me today. And as always, have a happy, colorful day. And next week, next week we are going to go through the green family. So check back next Wednesday.